Hello everyone, it's Della DuLac. Today I'm going to share with you some cards that I did with the April 2025 kit called Inked Occasions. Beautiful kit and beautiful box. I love it when they do these prints on some of the boxes. I will save those and use them either as a gift box or to store other cards in. The cards fit great in here in 2 stacks, so that's a great gift box to give cards away. And then these are the cards that come in this kit. And the paper is just really beautiful, and it does go across both sides, so I've cut them apart just so I can get more cards out of my kit. This is the stamp set, super cute, little butterflies, and I really like the font of the thinking of you and congratulations. And in this kit you get the Berry Burst ink spot. And the envelopes. I love it when they do the prints on the outside of the envelopes. Very pretty. Put those aside. And then here are the card bases. So you get 3 designs. And they're so pretty on both sides. I am a very frugal person. I like to get as much out of my paper and cards that I can. So I've cut all of these apart to double the cards that I'm going to make. So we'll come back to those. So a few of the other things. So in this kit, the little die cuts for the greetings are not stamped. So you will stamp them. So the color that you get in the kit with the Berry Burst is probably what you would stamp on. If you have other other inks left over from other kits or a black one on hand, I've done some in the black also. And then I'll finish stamping those up for later. Use them on other cards or to finish this kit with. So here's one of the big hugs left. Lots of fun things. So this is one of the sheets. Let's see. I'll turn that over so you can see that better. There we go. Okay, so this is one of the sheets that you can pop out to create this card over here. And you can cut that apart to make more cards out of that also. So we'll show you that. And here are the cards. Get this out, and I love the different tissue papers. I should have created a card with that, but maybe later. Okay, let's get rid of the box. Here are some of my cards. I'll refer to those later. Let's move the envelopes out of the way. Okay, so here's one of the cards. So like I said, I did cut these apart. That one was this one. So I've cut these apart so I can get 2 cards out of them. So usually what I like to do is I will cut and I will measure this over, cut it at 4 inches, because that's usually the mat that I do on my cards is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then sometimes when I do that, I'll have this score line left on one of the pieces, and when I do have that, I will cover that up with some twine or another piece of cardstock. And here are the other ones. So for this one here, I have some twine left over from other kits, and this one was a really fine gold one. Which looked like that. So we're going to use that, and I just wrapped several times along the bottom just to give it a little bit more interest, and thought it would be kind of fun to tuck the end of this little tag under just to give it a little fun little interest. And then when I have strips left over, and actually this one here, like I said, when I cut them apart, sometimes the front panel or the strip left over has that score line, and I don't want that score line to show, so I wrapped, you can see that score line right there, so I wrapped some twine around that and put that on the inside of my card. Super fun. This one has the piece that I've cut, this one. And that was this card base here. So this one, I made sure that I cut this apart and had just a little bit of the border, trimmed that off so I could see my purple card. So I've trimmed that and then trimmed the back piece as well. So when you do that and you cut all these parts, card parts you need card bases. So on the back side of this, it will give you some of the colors that they used in this kit, which is a great resource for you to pull out some of your papers for your card bases. And this one has Berry Burst, Flirty Flamingo, Fresh Freesia, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, Peach Pie, Pool Party, and then it has the accents of the gold. So this one was the Peach Pie card base, and now I've got the Gorgeous Grape. So any of these are going to look really pretty with with any of the parts that are in here, because you have all of those colors in the background and the pieces. So this one here, I've folded my card like normal and then folded that flat back. That's just a super quick, easy, fun fold. Super cute. And so I did cut this piece apart. I'm going to pop this out because I'm going to show you one of the things later. So very carefully pop all of these pieces out. Here we go. We'll come back to that later, but just so you can see it a little better. There we go. Okay. So this one I've cut kind of in half. So I cut around here, and then you have to very carefully cut a part here also, which is what I did on this card down here. So this one was the same card that I've cut into two and made these two cards with. And then I did the same, cutting these pieces. And then if you have rhinestones left over from other kits, or if you had other projects, those are fun to add as well. That didn't come in the kit, but just look around and see what you've got in your craft room to add some of these. Let's move that over. So I did do just a couple of the little butterflies stamped on the inside, and this one I had just a skinny strip left over when I cut these apart and added some of the little butterflies. And this little strip of the Gorgeous Grape, I put it on the Highland Heather for my card base. Super quick, very cute way to cut these apart and use them. Again, this is the back panel of this one. And for this one, I added a flower because I did not get the add-on kit. So let's refer back to this again. So this will show you an add-on kit. Sometimes they will coordinate with 2 or 3 of the kits, so you can look ahead. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. I'm kind of wishing that I did, but I didn't. So look around if you have other flower dies, any of those. This one actually came from the last Paper Pumpkin kit, which was this one, the Daisy Daydream. So I had an extra daisy of those left over, so I decided to add that onto this one. And then of course the beautiful brass butterflies. That's a really fun one to add to this as well, because the butterflies, here we go. So the butterfly shape is very similar, so they look really good with this kit if you have those. So I just did that, and I stamped directly on my background with black, and then just added a little strip on the inside. And then you can't quite tell, but I did wink a Stella the center of that daisy. Very cute. And this one, again, coming back to that first card panel that I did. This one I did, when I did cut this one, I did have this score line left over, so that's why I have my ribbon right there, so it covers up that score line. And then this piece here, so this is the one that you punch out to put on one of the cards, which was over here. And then you put either your words over that or a flower like I did on this one. But once you punch that out, you have, there we go, the negative space. If you want to take the time to fussy cut around this, which is kind of crazy, let's trim that off. I'm not going to take the time to fussy cut around this whole thing, but if you really want to, you can. And you're just going to trim all the way up to that gold. Just keep cutting around there if you want to take the time to fussy cut around that. And then you're going to end up with that little piece here. And I cut it apart so I could widen my reach here behind my greeting. So I fussy cut all the way around everything, cut it in half so I could pull it over and angle it just a little bit different. So that is what I did with that. It did take some time to fussy cut around the whole thing. Some people definitely don't like fussy cutting. Other people don't really mind it. It kind of depends on how many cards I'm making. If I'm sitting down to make a whole bunch, then normally I don't. And then I've got a couple of the skinny strips left for the inside and some butterflies. Very cute. And then if you have any flower punches, these are all retired, but I still have them on my desk, so I can use those. A couple brass butterflies. And then this one, I just took a large happy birthday greeting and stamped right on that card base. A couple strips on the inside. This I did put on the Berry Burst background. This one I did the Fresh Freesia. So you can see how all of these colors give it just a slightly different feel too, depending on the color. And then this one I cut my panel and then just trimmed it. I didn't even measure it. I glued that on and then trimmed my card front so there's just a little flap missing. And then the piece that I cut off of this, I just put right there. Kind of a little bit different, and then just made a different tag. And then, you know, again, pull out some of your old punches or dies. The butterflies would work really well. This one I've got the black silhouette of the same butterfly from this die set here. This one, can't remember the name of it, of course. But just beautiful butterfly dies. So that's what I did from here. And I really love to do the dies, especially the butterflies in black. So you've got a beautiful silhouette of that butterfly. And then I just lifted the wings a little bit with the with some black dimensionals. There you can see that. Kind of pretty. And then a strip, of course, on the inside. And this I paired up on the black. They look really pretty on black. This is just the basic black cardstock. So when you do your kits, if you get these and you want just a few, you can get an assortment pack, so you have a few of each color. Getting a whole package of the black or a package of white is a great thing to have on hand so you can have more cardstock to use. And then this one here, I just cut a little strip out of that middle, and I cut it in half and put it on the inside. And then so I thought that would be kind of a fun little panel style card. And then this one here, super basic, like the little flag, and then stamped the little flower or the little butterflies on my tag and some on the card base. So let me show you a couple cards. Let's see, we're going to do this one. Come back to this one. I'm going to show you how I wrapped that twine and then cutting apart that piece. So we're going to come back to that one. Let's do the twine wrapping first. Okay, so I've cut my card. I've got some purple, some of the gorgeous grape, cut my base. I just stamped a couple of flowers on there just to be quick, and I've got my hugs and my little dimensionals on there all ready to go. So what I did with my gold twine, I'm going to put a strip of adhesive on the back side. Get my twine. This is very fine thread, actually. I'm going to get it started on the back, and then I'm just going to wrap it just a few times. Since it's so thin, I'm going to wrap quite a few times. And then come over here, kind of bunch them up, and then maybe go the other direction. And you can do as much or as little as you want. So, and then I'll get that stuck to the back. Trim that off. There we go. Alright, and then when I've got my twine on there, I want to make sure that that end is not going to pop out. So I will put another strip of adhesive right on the back of that. And then we're going to come back to all the other sides. So we can get that on our card front. Get that white out of the way, come on. Okay, everything is sticking. Okay, and then just put that on so you've got a little bit of that gorgeous grape border all the way around. So there's your front. And then that strip I'm going to put on the white piece for the inside of my card. Okay. And this will be longer than my inside piece, so I'm just going to get that on there, and then with my paper snips I'll turn that over and just cut that off. So that will be ready for the inside. Let's just do that right now. And my adhesive is fighting me. I think it's time for a new one. And then you can put them on either side you want. Usually I like to put them on that side. Okay, there very quickly. And then of course we'll just add this little hugs. I think this one I'm just going to leave so it's just hugs. I'm not going to add another greeting. And then I can just send anybody a hug for any reason I want. Get all of those backings off. Okay. And then just add that in. And I like this font. It doesn't have to be completely straight. I kind of angle it. Looks great. Oh, I don't want to cover up my little butterflies though that I stamped. There we go. Super quick, very easy to do, kind of fun. I like that, just that texture and the little glimmer that it adds is a nice touch. Okay, and then for the last card, I'm going to show you how I cut this part. Oh, I do have one already. That's okay. Okay, I've got all of these pieces ready to go. And so for this one I cut mostly in half. This one I think I'm going to do a smaller piece, and I want to make sure that my cut is sort of straight. There we go. So now I have just this panel. This one I can leave like this or cut it again. So if I cut it again, I would need to cut this little guy apart and then down here. I'm not sure if I think I'm going to leave it like that for now. I may change my mind later. But for this card, we're going to do this. Okay. Get all my parts. So this one I've got that ready. I'm going to do that on the black. We're going to do a fun little silhouette. Oh, careful. These are very fragile. So we're going to do something like this. Except I want that to come up. I have a little strip of black that I've already made into a banner. So we're going to do something like this layout. Okay, so I'm going to glue this flat down on my card. Okay. What? We're going to, this just has a very small mat around, so you can see just a little bit of black all the way around the card. Okay, now this one, I want to make sure, okay, we're going to adhere this black circle, this adhesive. I think it's time for a new one. They get very sticky and don't want to roll. There it goes. Okay. I'm going to put this up about here. Okay, now to put this piece on, I'm going to use some liquid glue. Okay, we're going to touch on here. I'm not going to put adhesive on all of the leaves, but Definitely the end ones for sure, some of these. Okay. And then down here on the strip. Okay, let's do that on there. Okay, we'll get this going down here. So I really want this towards the top of that circle. Somewhere around there. The good thing about the liquid glue is it stays wet long enough for you to kind of shift things around. And if you get too much glue, grab a tissue and blot that, because sometimes I get a little too much. There we go. And then I'm going to add my strip of black right underneath this. So make sure that that's straight. And then this one I'm going to put on with some dimensionals as soon as I figure out where they ran away to. Okay. Got a couple little strips there. Okay. Okay, and then we'll just add a little thank you. Very cute. And it looks super cute just like that, but since I have these gold butterflies right here, how about we add a couple of those? We'll just do maybe one over here, maybe one of the little ones over here, maybe another little one. Very cute. And there we go. I hope you liked my cards for today. Be sure to give me a thumbs up and don't forget to click that bell so you don't miss a video. And go on and check out some of the videos on my site that you have missed. Have a wonderful day.